Good evening, and welcome back to Nova's Sleepy Tales. Tonight, I invite you to journey back to a time so distant that the land we now call America had no name. There were no cities glowing beneath the night sky, no roads stretching across the land, no kingdoms, no written history. Only endless forests, vast rivers, towering mountains, frozen valleys, and the quiet rhythm of nature. Have you ever wondered who the very first people were to walk into this immense wilderness? They were not famous explorers. They were not kings or queens. They were ordinary families carrying simple tools, following the animals they hunted, searching for food, warmth, and hope. Without ever knowing it, they were beginning one of the greatest journeys in all of human history. Tonight, we will walk beside them. We will cross a forgotten world of snow and ice. We will watch mammoths wander across the frozen plains. We will sleep beneath skies brighter than any modern city has ever known. And together, we will discover the peaceful beginning of a continent that would one day become the United States of America. Before we begin, if you enjoy slow, relaxing history stories that help you unwind after a long day, I would be honored if you subscribed to Nova's Sleepy Tales. Every story here is carefully created to help you relax, learn something fascinating, and gently drift toward peaceful sleep. Now, take a slow, comfortable breath. Allow your shoulders to relax. Let the worries of today slowly fade away. Imagine the soft sound of a cold, northern wind moving gently across an endless open plain. The stars above shine with quiet brilliance. The world grows calm. And our story begins. More than 15,000 years ago, the Earth looked very different from the world we know today. Much of the northern half of the planet rested beneath enormous sheets of ice. Glaciers, some more than a mile thick, slowly covered mountains, valleys, forests, and rivers. Winter lasted far longer than summer. The air carried a deep and constant chill. Snow drifted silently across wide open landscapes. The oceans themselves were different. Because so much of Earth's water remained trapped inside these giant glaciers, sea levels were much lower than they are today. Places that now lie beneath the ocean were once dry land. One of those places would quietly change human history forever. Between modern-day Siberia and Alaska stretched an enormous land bridge. Today, scientists call it Beringia. But no one living there knew that name. To them it was simply another piece of land beneath their feet. Grass waved gently across the open plains. Small flowers appeared during the short summers. Herds of mammoths slowly wandered across the landscape. Massive bison grazed peacefully. Wild horses ran freely. Reindeer moved in long migrations that stretched beyond the horizon. The people who lived nearby watched these animals carefully. Their survival depended upon understanding every movement. They knew where the herds traveled. They knew when rivers froze. They knew which valleys offered shelter from the strongest winds. Life was never easy. Every meal required patience. Every successful hunt demanded teamwork. Every child learned from the wisdom of parents and grandparents. There were no clocks, no calendars, only the steady rhythm of sunrise and sunset. The changing seasons became their guide. The stars became their map. As the years passed, families slowly followed the great animals eastward. No one believed they were discovering a new continent. There was no great plan, no dream of exploration, only another hunting season, another river to cross, another distant hill beyond the horizon. Children laughed as they walked beside their parents. Small fires warmed the camps each evening. Stories were shared beneath the stars. The oldest members of each family remembered paths their own parents had once followed. Generation after generation continued moving forward, step by step, season after season, year after year. The journey was so gradual that no one noticed history unfolding around them. The land itself seemed endless. Sometimes they crossed wide grassy plains, sometimes frozen rivers, sometimes gentle hills covered with wildflowers during the brief summer months. The nights remained wonderfully quiet. Far above, countless stars filled the dark sky. Without smoke or city lights, the Milky Way stretched from one horizon to the other like a glowing river. For these early travelers, the stars were more than beautiful. They offered comfort. They reminded each generation that the world was far larger than any single valley or mountain. As thousands of years slowly passed, these families spread farther across the great northern lands. Some settled beside rivers rich with fish. Others found forests filled with berries, birds, and small animals. Each new place taught them different skills. Stone tools became more refined. Shelters became stronger. Knowledge passed carefully from one generation to the next. Grandparents taught children how to shape stone into sharp points. Parents showed them how to read animal tracks pressed into soft earth. Young hunters learned patience before courage. Every lesson increased the chances of survival. The world remained peaceful in its own quiet way. There were no towering castles, no crowded marketplaces, no ships crossing great oceans, only people living closely with nature. Every tree, every river, every mountain held meaning. Nothing was wasted. Everything had value. The mammoths continued their slow migrations, huge creatures covered in thick brown fur. Their curved tusks caught the morning sunlight. Watching them from a safe distance filled the hunters with both respect and caution. These magnificent animals provided food, clothing, tools, and warmth. Their bones became shelters. Their hides became blankets. Even after death, they continued helping the people survive. Other remarkable animals shared this ancient world, Giant ground sloths wandered through forests. Massive bison thundered across open grasslands. Dire wolves hunted together beneath the moonlight. Short-faced bears searched for food along riverbanks. Although dangerous, these animals belong to the same balanced world as the people themselves. Nothing hunted simply for pleasure. Everything hunted to survive. Slowly, almost unnoticed, the climate began changing. The great glaciers started melting, year after year, century after century. The seasons grew slightly warmer, rivers became larger, forests slowly spread across lands once covered by ice. Eventually, the land bridge connecting Asia and North America disappeared beneath rising seas. The people living across the continent never noticed they had become separated from the lands their distant ancestors once knew. Their world simply continued moving forward. Communities grew larger. Languages slowly changed. Different traditions appeared. Some people settled near the Pacific coast. Others traveled south across great plains. Some followed mighty rivers into dense forests. Others reached warm deserts beneath bright blue skies. Generation after generation transformed this enormous continent into home. Long before pyramids rose in Egypt, long before ancient Greece, long before Rome, people already lived throughout these lands. Their stories were spoken, not written. Their history lived inside memory, inside songs, inside family traditions shared beside evening fires. The America we know today had not yet been imagined. There were no borders, no states, no flags, only endless landscapes filled with quiet beauty and human resilience. As the stars slowly drift above our peaceful campfire, you can almost hear the gentle crackling of burning wood. A cool breeze moves softly through the tall grass. Somewhere in the distance, a lone wolf calls into the night. Children sleep peacefully beneath warm animal hides. The elders quietly watch the glowing fire. Tomorrow will bring another sunrise, another journey, another peaceful step into the unknown. And although none of them could possibly know it, the footsteps they leave behind will become the very first chapters in the long story of America. For now, there is nowhere else you need to be, nothing else you need to do. Simply rest, listen to the quiet wind, watch the stars above, and allow yourself to drift gently into a peaceful and restful sleep. Good night. Imagine that many peaceful seasons have now passed. The morning sun rises gently over a vast open landscape. The air is crisp and cool. A thin layer of frost sparkles across the grass as the first light touches the earth. The small camp slowly begins to wake. A quiet fire, protected by a circle of smooth stones, still glows softly from the night before. Someone carefully places another piece of dry wood onto the coals. A gentle crackling sound fills the morning air. children begin to stir beneath warm animal hides. The hunters quietly prepare their simple tools. There is no hurry. Life follows the calm rhythm of nature. Far beyond the camp, countless animals move slowly across the wide plains. The people know that every season brings change. The weather changes, the rivers change, the animals change, and so they change with them. Their greatest teacher is not a king, not a book, not a map. It is the land itself. Each morning offers another lesson. Each journey teaches something new. The people have become careful observers. They notice the smallest details, a fresh footprint pressed into soft mud, a broken branch, a distant bird suddenly taking flight. Even the direction of the wind carries valuable information. Nothing is ignored. Everything has meaning. As the years pass, the families continue walking farther east. The land before them seems endless. Rolling hills stretch toward the horizon. Wide rivers flow gently through untouched valleys. Tall grasses sway softly beneath the wind. Sometimes they travel for many days without seeing another family. Sometimes they discover camps where distant relatives have settled for a season. When they meet, stories are exchanged. New hunting grounds are described. Safe rivers are remembered. Dangerous places are quietly discussed. Knowledge becomes the greatest gift anyone can share. No one owns the land. The rivers belong to everyone. The forests welcome every traveler. The mountains watch silently over every generation. Each evening the families gather around the fire once again. The oldest members begin telling ancient stories, stories about the stars, stories about the great animals, stories about the spirits believed to live within rivers, forests, and mountains. The children listen carefully. One day, these stories will become their responsibility to remember. Far to the north, winter slowly returns. Snow begins falling once more. The white landscape grows larger each passing day. Yet life continues peacefully. The people know exactly how to prepare. Animal hides become warm clothing. Food is carefully stored. Firewood is collected before heavy snow arrives. Nothing is wasted. Every season teaches patience. Every challenge strengthens the community. As another year quietly passes, the people continue following the great herds. Without realizing it, each step carries them deeper into an entirely new continent. No one celebrates this achievement. No one writes it down. History moves forward in complete silence. The stars above remain unchanged. The moon continues rising each night. The rivers continue flowing toward distant oceans. And the first people of America continue their peaceful journey, one quiet step at a time. As the evening sky slowly darkens once again, another campfire begins to glow beneath countless stars. The gentle wind becomes cooler. The sounds of the day slowly fade away. Tomorrow, another journey will begin, another peaceful walk into the unknown. But tonight, there is only warmth, only quiet, only the comforting sound of the fire. Close your eyes, breathe slowly, and allow the peaceful world of long ago to carry you gently towards sleep. Many generations have now passed. The children who once walked beside their parents have become grandparents themselves. The stories around the evening fires continue, just as they always have. Each generation adds a few new memories. Each generation leaves behind quiet footprints upon the land. The journey continues, not because anyone is searching for a new world, but because life itself keeps moving forward. One peaceful morning, the hunters notice something unusual. The great herds have changed their path. The mammoths are slowly traveling toward a distant valley where fresh grass grows after the long winter. Without speaking many words, the families understand what must happen. If the animals move, they will follow. The camp is packed with calm and practiced hands. Stone tools are wrapped carefully. Bundles of dried meat are tied together. Warm animal skins are folded and carried across strong shoulders. The youngest children ride safely beside their parents. The oldest members of the family walk slowly but proudly. No one is left behind. Their journey is never rushed. Every few hours they stop to rest. Fresh water is gathered from clear streams. The children collect smooth stones along the riverbanks. Some laugh quietly as they discover unusual shapes hidden beneath the flowing water. The elders smile. Even during difficult journeys, there is always time to notice simple beauty. The land ahead begins to change. The endless open plains slowly give way to scattered forests. Tall pine trees rise into the cool blue sky. Their branches whisper softly whenever the wind passes through them. The scent of fresh pine fills the air. Birdsong echoes gently from tree to tree. For the first time in many seasons, the hunters must learn a different way of moving. On the open plains, they could see for miles. Inside the forest, every step becomes slower, more careful. Animal tracks are hidden beneath fallen leaves. The sounds of distant footsteps are softened by thick moss. The people quickly adapt. They always do. They learn which berries are safe to eat, which trees provide the strongest wood, which quiet streams are filled with fish. The forest becomes another generous teacher. As summer arrives, the days grow warmer. Wildflowers begin covering small meadows between the trees. Butterflies drift peacefully through the sunlight. The rivers sparkle beneath the gentle afternoon sky. Life feels abundant. Children gather berries while singing simple songs they learned in the earth from their grandparents. Nearby, skilled hunters patiently carve new spear points from smooth pieces of stone. Others repair warm clothing using carefully prepared animal sinew. Every task has its purpose. Every person has a role. As evening approaches, soft smoke rises from another peaceful camp. The smell of roasting fish fills the cool air. Families gather together once more beneath the stars. One elder begins telling an old story, not about kings, not about great battles, but about kindness, about sharing food during difficult winters, about helping strangers find shelter before a storm. The children listen carefully. These lessons are just as important as learning to hunt, because surviving together has always mattered more than surviving alone. Far above them, the stars remain bright and endless. They have watched over countless generations. They watched these people arrive. They watched them continue their quiet journey. And they will continue shining long after every footprint has faded from the earth. Tonight, as the fire burns low and the forest grows quiet, the people settle beneath warm blankets of soft animal fur. A gentle breeze moves through the trees. Somewhere nearby, an owl calls softly into the peaceful darkness. Tomorrow will bring another sunrise, another gentle walk, another chapter in the quiet beginning of America. For now, simply rest. Listen to the whispering trees, feel the cool night air, and let yourself drift peacefully into sleep. The morning arrives slowly. A pale golden light spreads across the forest, touching the tops of the tall pine trees before reaching the quiet camp below. Tiny drops of dew cling to blades of grass. The cool air carries the fresh scent of earth, moss, and cedar. For a few peaceful moments, the entire world feels perfectly still. Then, somewhere in the distance, a bird begins to sing. Another answers. Soon the forest is gently filled with soft morning sounds. The families wake one by one. A small fire is carefully brought back to life. Warm hands stretch toward the comforting flames. Breakfast is simple. Fresh fish caught the evening before, a handful of wild berries, clear water collected from a nearby stream. Nothing is wasted. Everything is appreciated. Life is not easy, but it is peaceful. As the sun climbs higher into the sky, several hunters quietly leave the camp. Their footsteps are almost silent. Years of experience have taught them how to move through the forest without disturbing its natural rhythm. They pause often, not because they are tired, but because they are listening. The forest is always speaking. The gentle snapping of a twig, the distant splash of water, the rustling of leaves carried by the wind. Every sound tells a story. Every silence tells another. One hunter kneels beside the soft ground. There, pressed gently into the damp soil, are enormous footprints. Fresh footprints, round, deep, far larger than those of any deer. A mammoth has passed through this valley. The hunters exchange quiet smiles. There is no excitement, no rush, only patience. They know the great animal is somewhere ahead, moving slowly as it searches for fresh grass and young branches. For many hours they follow the trail. Sometimes the footprints disappear across rocky ground. Sometimes they reappear beside a quiet stream. Along the way, they notice other signs of life. A family of foxes slipping silently through the bushes. A pair of graceful elk drinking from a small lake. Bright bluebirds resting high among the branches. The forest is full of life. Every creature has its place. By late afternoon, they finally see the mammoth. It stands peacefully in a wide meadow, pulling long grasses from the earth with its powerful trunk. Its thick, brown coat moves gently in the breeze. Its curved ivory tusks shine softly beneath the afternoon sun. The hunters stop at a respectful distance. For a long time, they simply watch. The mammoth is more than food. It is part of their world, a creature that has shared these lands for thousands of years. The people understand that every life deserves respect. When they hunt, they do so only because survival depends upon it, never out of anger, never for sport, only for life itself. As the sun begins to set, the hunters quietly return to their camp. Tonight there will be no hunt. The mammoth is healthy. The families still have enough food. There is no need to disturb the peaceful balance of nature. Back at the camp, children gather around the fire as the evening grows cooler. An elder points toward the stars slowly appearing above the trees. He tells them that every bright light in the sky has watched over their ancestors. The same stars watched their grandparents and their grandparents before them. The children look upward in quiet wonder. The night sky feels endless, filled with mysteries no one can fully explain. Yet somehow, that mystery feels comforting. Another season quietly slips by. The long days of summer slowly begin to soften. The mornings arrive a little cooler. The evenings become a little longer. Golden leaves appear high among the trees, gently dancing whenever the wind passes through the forest. No one in the camp counts the days. No one marks dates on a calendar. Instead, they watch the changing colors of the land. Nature tells them everything they need to know. The birds begin flying south. The berries become fewer. The rivers grow colder. The people understand that autumn has arrived. It is time to prepare once again. Each family works together with calm and steady hands. Some gather dry firewood from the forest floor. Others collect nuts hidden beneath the fallen leaves. Fresh fish are carefully smoked over slow-burning fires, allowing them to last through the cold months ahead. Animal hides are cleaned, softened, and stitched into warm clothing. Every task is done with patience. Nothing is hurried, nothing is forgotten. Even the youngest children help in small ways. They gather twigs, they carry smooth stones. They laugh quietly as they race one another through the tall grass before returning to the warmth of the camp. The elders smile as they watch. They know these children will one day become the keepers of every lesson the land has taught. One afternoon, a gentle rain begins to fall. Tiny drops tap softly against the leaves overhead. The forest becomes even quieter. The scent of wet earth fills the cool air. Instead of traveling, everyone remains close to the fire. It is a peaceful day. An elder begins carving a small piece of antler into a simple tool. His hands move slowly, shaped by decades of experience. Nearby, a grandmother carefully repairs a warm fur blanket. Two children sit quietly beside her, learning every careful stitch. No one calls this a lesson. Learning simply happens by watching, by listening, by doing. As evening approaches, the rain finally stops. A soft mist rises from the forest floor. The setting sun shines through the trees, turning the tiny water droplets into golden light. For a few magical moments, the entire forest seems to glow. Everyone pauses to admire the beauty. No words are needed. Some moments are best enjoyed in silence. That night, after a warm meal shared together, the families gather around the fire once more. The oldest storyteller clears his throat gently. He speaks of a time long before even his grandparents were born. A time when the great ice covered much of the world. A time when their ancestors first followed the wandering herds across the endless northern plains. The children listen with wide, curious eyes. Although none of them realize it, they are listening to the earliest memories of a people whose journey has already lasted for thousands of years. These stories are precious. There are no books to preserve them, no paper, no written words. Every memory lives inside the voices of the people. Every generation becomes a living library. As the fire slowly burns lower, the stars begin filling the sky once again. The Milky Way stretches across the darkness like a bright river of light. The elders often say that every traveler, no matter how lost they may become, can always look upward and find comfort among the stars. Perhaps that is why the children never fear the night. The darkness is not empty. It is filled with familiar lights watching quietly above them. A cool breeze gently moves through the camp. The fire crackles softly. Somewhere far away, a river continues its endless journey toward the sea. The people close their eyes, knowing tomorrow will bring another peaceful day, another sunrise, another quiet lesson from the land, and another gentle step in the long, beautiful beginning of America. Now, allow your own thoughts to become as quiet as the forest. Listen to the gentle rain still dripping from the leaves. Feel the warmth of the fading. Winter returns with quiet determination. At first, the changes are almost too gentle to notice. The morning frost lingers a little longer. The rivers grow colder each day. The northern wind carries a sharper chill through the forest. Then, one peaceful evening, the first snow begins to fall. Tiny white flakes drift silently from the dark sky. They settle softly upon the branches. They cover the sleeping earth with a blanket of white. By sunrise, the entire world has changed. The forest is still. The rivers move slowly beneath thin sheets of ice. Every sound becomes softer. Even footsteps disappear beneath the fresh snow. The families welcome the season with calm acceptance. Winter is not their enemy. It is simply another chapter in the endless cycle of nature. They have prepared carefully. Bundles of dried fish hang safely inside their shelters. Smoked meat has been stored for many weeks. Firewood is stacked neatly beside every camp. Warm blankets made from thick animal hides wait for the long nights ahead. Nothing has been left to chance. The elders have seen many winters before. Their experience has taught the younger generations that patience is the greatest companion during the cold months. Each morning begins beside a warm fire. The children stretch their hands toward the glowing flames. Steam rises gently from bowls of warm broth. Outside, soft snowflakes continue falling without a sound. The world feels peaceful, almost dreamlike. The hunters still leave the camp from time to time, but their journeys are shorter now. Fresh animal tracks stand out clearly in the snow. A rabbit has passed this way. A fox crossed the frozen stream during the night. A family of deer moved quietly through the trees before sunrise. The forest writes its own stories upon the snow. The hunters simply learn how to read them. One afternoon, while walking along a frozen river, they notice something remarkable. A herd of musk oxen stands together in the distance. Their thick coats protect them from the bitter cold. The animals remain close to one another, forming a circle around their young. The hunters stop. They watch in respectful silence. Nature has once again offered a lesson. Strength is found in staying together. Back at the camp, life continues at a slower pace. Stone tools are sharpened. Old clothing is carefully repaired. Children practice shaping small pieces of flint beneath the watchful eyes of their parents. Mistakes are welcomed. Every mistake becomes another opportunity to learn. As darkness arrives earlier each evening, the campfire becomes the heart of the community. Its gentle warmth brings everyone together. The flames dance quietly. Soft shadows move across the shelter walls. Outside, snow continues falling beneath a sky filled with brilliant stars. Tonight, one of the grandmothers begins telling a story. She speaks of the great white spirit of winter, not as something frightening, but as a gentle guardian who teaches patience, endurance, and gratitude. The children listen closely. They imagine when spring finally arrives, it does not come all at once. It begins with a single drop of melting ice. A quiet trickle of water slips beneath the snow, then another, and another. Day by day, the frozen world slowly awakens. The long winter loosens its gentle grip upon the land. Streams begin to sing once again. The rivers flow freely toward distant valleys. The snow retreats from the hillsides. Soft, green shoots quietly push their way through the damp earth. The people welcome these small changes with quiet smiles. There is no celebration, no great ceremony. Nature speaks softly, and they have learned to listen. The children are the first to notice the tiny flowers appearing beside the streams. Bright yellow blossoms open toward the morning sun. Delicate blue flowers sway gently in the cool breeze. The forest, silent for so many months, slowly fills with birdsong once again. Everywhere, life is returning. The hunters travel farther each day. Fresh tracks appear in the soft mud. Deer move through the valleys. Elk graze beside quiet rivers. Beavers work patiently along the water's edge, building their homes from branches and mud. The people pause to watch them. The beavers never rush. Each small branch is placed with care. Each piece has a purpose. The elders smile. There is wisdom, one of them whispers, even in the smallest builders. As the days grow warmer, the camp becomes busier. Families repair their shelters after the long winter. Old wooden poles are replaced. Fresh grasses are gathered for bedding. Animal hides are stretched beneath the warm sun to dry. Everything feels new again. One morning, a group of children follows an elder into the forest. Today is not about hunting. It is about learning. The elder kneels beside a patch of green leaves. He gently touches one plant. This one heals cuts. He points to another. This one eases a cough. Another plant is left untouched. It is beautiful, he says softly, but it must never be eaten. The children watch carefully. Every lesson matters. The forest provides many gifts, but only to those who respect it. As afternoon sunlight filters through the tall trees, they come upon a wide meadow. Hundreds of butterflies drift lazily from flower to flower. Bees hum softly through the warm air. The children stand quietly. No one chases the butterflies. No one disturbs them. Some moments are meant only to be admired. Nearby, a young deer lifts its head. For a brief moment, its eyes meet those of a little girl. Neither one moves. Then, with graceful steps, the deer disappears into the forest. The little girl smiles. She will remember this quiet meeting for the rest of her life. That evening, everyone gathers beside the river. The water sparkles beneath the setting sun. Several people cast woven nets into the gentle current. Others patiently carve new fishing spears from smooth branches. There is laughter. There are quiet conversations. There is gratitude. The river has cared for countless generations, and tonight it cares for them once again. As darkness slowly settles across the valley, Thousands of stars appear overhead. The campfire glows warmly beside the flowing water. An elder begins humming an ancient melody. No one knows exactly how old the song is. Perhaps it has been sung for summer settles gently across the land. The days become long and warm. Golden sunlight filters through the forest from early morning until late evening. The rivers sparkle beneath clear blue skies. Wildflowers cover the open meadows like colorful blankets stretching toward the horizon. The air is filled with the soft buzzing of bees. Dragonflies glide above quiet ponds. Tiny frogs rest upon smooth stones warmed by the afternoon sun. Everything feels alive. Everything feels peaceful. The people have learned that every season offers different gifts. Summer is the season of abundance. Fresh berries grow along the forest paths. Sweet roots hide beneath the soft earth. Fish fill the rivers. Small game moves quietly through the woods. There is enough for everyone, but still, no one takes more than they need. The elders often remind the children of an important lesson. The land remembers kindness. When you care for the forest cares for you. The children repeat those words until they become part of their hearts. One bright morning, several families begin a short journey toward a wide lake they have visited many times before. The path is familiar. Tall grasses sway gently on either side. Butterflies float lazily through the warm air. Every now and then, someone stops to admire a beautiful feather lying on the ground, or an unusually shaped stone beside the trail. There is no rush. The journey itself is part of the day. When they finally reach the lake, the water is perfectly still. It reflects the clouds so clearly that the sky seems to continue beneath the surface. Children laugh softly as they step into the cool, shallow water. Tiny fish dart between their feet. Parents smile while repairing fishing nets nearby. Several elders sit quietly beneath the shade of a great pine tree, watching the peaceful scene unfold before them. One grandfather points toward a bald eagle, circling high above the lake. "It sees farther than any of us," he says gently. "But even the eagle must be patient before it catches its meal." The children follow the bird with their eyes. For several long moments it simply glides without moving its wings. Then, with perfect timing, it dives toward the water. A splash, a few ripples, and moments later it rises once again, carrying a silver fish in its powerful talons. No loud celebration, no wasted movement, only quiet skill. The people admire the eagle not because it is powerful, but because it lives in harmony with the land. As afternoon fades into evening, everyone gathers near the edge of the lake. A simple meal is prepared over a small fire. Fresh fish, wild herbs, sweet berries collected earlier that day. The smoke rises slowly into the calm evening sky. As they eat together, one of the oldest women begins speaking about the moon. She tells the children that every full moon reminds them to give thanks, not because they own the land, but because they are only visitors within it. The rivers were here long before them. The forests were here long before them, and they hope these beautiful places will remain long after they are gone. The children listen quietly. They may not understand every word today, but someday they will tell the same stories to their own grandchildren. As darkness slowly blankets the lake, the stars begin appearing one by one. Their reflections shimmer gently across the quiet water. The air becomes cooler. A gentle breeze ripples the lake's smooth surface. Nearby, crickets begin their soft evening song. The fire burns lower with each passing moment. No one feels the need to speak. Silence itself has become a trusted friend. The peaceful sounds of nature say everything that needs to be said. Tonight, the families sleep beside the lake beneath an endless sky filled with stars. The gentle waves touch the shore again and again. Somewhere in the distance, a loon calls across the dark water. Its lonely, beautiful voice echoes through the quiet night before fading into silence. The children sleep peacefully. The elders rest comfortably. The fire glows softly until only glowing embers remain. Far above them, the stars continue their slow journey across the heavens, just as they have for countless thousands of years. And somewhere beyond the horizon, new valleys, new rivers, and new forests quietly wait to be discovered by future generations. Now, take another slow, gentle breath. Imagine the cool breeze drifting across the peaceful lake. Hear the tiny waves reaching the shore. Watch the stars dancing upon the water, and allow yourself to drift slowly, calmly, effortlessly into a deep and peaceful sleep. Time moves quietly in this ancient world, not in days, not in months, but in generations. The little children who once gathered berries beside the river have grown into wise adults. The young hunters have become respected elders. New babies are born beneath the same bright stars. Old voices slowly fade into memory. Yet the journey never truly ends. It simply continues, one peaceful generation after another. The land itself begins to change. The great glaciers far to the north continue melting little by little. The rivers become wider. New lakes appear where ancient ice once rested. Forests spread farther across the valleys. Animals quietly follow the changing seasons, and the people follow the animals just as their ancestors always had. One calm morning, an elder invites several young children to climb a gentle hill overlooking the valley. The walk is slow. There is no destination to hurry toward. Every few steps, the elder pauses. He points toward a distant mountain. Your grandfather stood here and looked at that same mountain. A little farther along the path he points toward the winding river below. Your grandmother learned to fish there when she was no older than you. The children look across the valley with quiet wonder. To them, the land is more than earth and trees. It is filled with memories. Every rock, every stream, every ancient tree carries the footsteps of those who came before. At the top of the hill, everyone sits together beneath the warm morning sun. The elder says nothing for several minutes. Instead, they simply listen. The gentle wind, birds singing in the distance, the rustling leaves, the slow movement of the river below. Finally, he smiles. This is how the land speaks. The children close their eyes. For the first time they truly hear it. As summer slowly passes, the people notice new paths opening through the forests. Large herds of bison now travel farther south. Elk gather in different valleys. The world continues changing. The people understand that survival depends upon adapting with it. Nothing remains exactly the same forever. Yet some things never change. Kindness, patience, respect. These lessons are carried from one generation to the next more carefully than any tool. Stone tools can break. Wood can rot. Fire eventually grows cold. But wisdom lives inside people. And as long as it is shared, it can never truly disappear. That evening, a young boy asks his grandmother a simple question. Will people remember us someday? She smiles gently. Then she looks toward the stars. Perhaps not by our names, she says softly. But every kind choice you make will become part of the world your grandchildren inherit. The boy thinks quietly about her words. He may not fully understand them tonight, but one day, many years from now, he will repeat those same words to another curious child. The stars slowly fill the evening sky. The familiar campfire glows warmly in the center of the camp. Someone begins humming an old melody. Others quietly join in. The song has no beginning anyone remembers. It has no ending anyone expects. It simply flows gently through the generations, just like the rivers, just like the wind, just like time itself. The fire burns lower. The children drift to sleep one by one. Parents wrap warm hides around their families. The elders remain awake a little longer, watching the stars move silently across the heavens. Perhaps they wonder what lies beyond the next mountain. Perhaps they are simply grateful for another peaceful day. The night grows cooler. The forest grows quieter. The moon rises above the tall trees, bathing the valley in soft, silver light. Far away, a herd of bison slowly crosses an open meadow. An owl glee. The years continue to pass like gentle clouds drifting across a quiet sky. No one notices the passing of centuries. No one counts the generations. Life simply moves forward, just as the rivers always do. The children born beside one river eventually build their own camps beside another. Some families remain close to the forests. Others follow the great grasslands stretching endlessly toward the south, slowly, very slowly. The first people begin spreading across a continent larger than they could ever imagine. They do not know they are exploring a new world. To them, it is simply home. One peaceful morning, a young girl wakes before everyone else. The camp is still asleep. Only the glowing embers of last night's fire remain. She quietly walks toward a nearby hill. The morning mist hangs low above the valley. Everything feels wrapped in silence. As she reaches the top, the rising sun begins to appear over the distant mountains. Golden light slowly spills across the forests. The rivers begin to sparkle. Birds greet the new day with gentle songs. The little girl smiles. She has seen many sunrises, yet each one feels different. Each one feels new. Soon, the rest of the camp begins to wake. The smell of fresh smoke rises into the cool morning air. Breakfast is shared quietly. There is no need for many words. The people know one another well. Their lives move together like the steady rhythm of nature itself. Later that day, several families begin following a wide river they have never seen before. The water moves slowly between gentle hills. Its banks are rich with tall grasses and flowering plants. Fish leap above the surface from time to time. The elders believe the river will lead them toward new hunting grounds. Perhaps it will. Perhaps it will not. Either way, the journey itself is worth taking. As they travel, they notice something beautiful. The river bends through the valley like a long silver ribbon. Its waters reflect the clouds drifting peacefully overhead. The children stop often to throw small stones into the water. Each splash creates gentle circles that slowly disappear. One elder watches them and smiles. He quietly says, "Life is much like these ripples. Our smallest actions travel farther than we can ever see." The children nod, even if they do not fully understand. Someday, those words will return to them. As afternoon turns into evening, the travelers discover a quiet meadow beside the river. Wildflowers sway gently in the breeze. A large oak tree offers cool shade. Nearby, a spring flows from the hillside with fresh, clear water. The elders agree. This is a good place to rest. The camp is built with practiced hands. Branches become simple shelters. The fire is lit. Fresh fish are cooked over glowing coals. The familiar smell of wood smoke fills the evening air. As darkness slowly settles across the valley, everyone gathers beneath the great oak tree. An elder begins speaking softly. He reminds the children that every river begins as a tiny stream. Every mighty tree begins as a small seed. Every wise elder was once a curious child, asking endless questions. Nothing becomes great all at once. Everything grows little by little, season by season, year by year, generation by generation. The children sit quietly beneath the stars, thinking about those gentle words. Above them, the night sky stretches farther than they can imagine. The same stars watched their ancestors cross the northern land bridge. The same stars now shine upon this peaceful valley, and they will continue shining long after every campfire has faded into history. The evening grows cooler, crickets begin their soft chorus. A gentle breeze carries the sweet scent of wildflowers through the camp. Parents tuck their sleeping children beneath warm animal hides. The elders quietly watch the glowing fire. No one knows exactly what tomorrow will bring. Perhaps another peaceful journey. Perhaps another beautiful valley. Perhaps another lesson from the land. Whatever comes, they will meet it together, just as they always have. Now, picture yourself lying beneath that enormous sky. Feel the cool grass beneath you. Listen to the gentle river flowing nearby. Watch the stars shimmer quietly above the ancient world. There is no hurry, no noise, no fear, only peace, only nature, only the slow and beautiful beginning of a land that thousands of years later would one day be called America. And with that peaceful thought, allow your eyes to grow heavy. Allow your breathing to become slow and calm, and drift gently into a deep, quiet, and restful sleep. The world never stands completely still, even when everything seems peaceful. The land is quietly changing. The rivers carve new paths through the valleys. Young forests slowly replace open grasslands. The great glaciers continue their slow retreat toward the far north. No one notices these changes from one season to the next, but over hundreds of years, the earth gently reshapes itself. The people change with it. They always have. One cool autumn morning, a group of families reaches the top of a broad hillside. Before them stretches a landscape unlike anything they have ever seen. Beyond the rolling hills lies an endless sea of tall grass. The wind moves across it in slow, graceful waves. From a distance, it almost looks like the surface of a golden ocean. The children stand in amazement. There are no trees to block the view. The horizon seems to go on forever. An elder smiles softly. The land has given us another home to discover. The families begin walking into the great prairie. The grass reaches almost to their shoulders. Small birds suddenly rise into the air before settling again a little farther away. Colorful wildflowers bloom between the tall stems. Tiny insects hum peacefully in the warm afternoon sunlight. The open plains feel different from the forests. The wind is stronger here. The sky feels larger. At night, There are no tall trees to hide the stars. The heavens stretch from one horizon to the other in breathtaking beauty. That evening, the families build their camp beside a quiet stream. The water is fresh and clear. Nearby, herds of bison graze peacefully across the endless grasslands. The people watch them with quiet respect. These magnificent animals are powerful. Their deep footsteps gently shake the earth as they move together. Yet they never seem hurried. They simply follow the seasons, just as the people do. Over the following days, the hunters learn the rhythm of the prairie. They study the movement of the wind. They notice where the bison rest. They learn which grasses hide small animals and which valleys collect fresh rainwater. Every new place offers another lesson. Every lesson makes life a little easier. Meanwhile, the children discover their own adventures. They chase butterflies dancing above the flowers. They collect smooth stones from the creek. They lie quietly in the tall grass, watching white clouds drift slowly across the endless blue sky. Sometimes they imagine shapes in the clouds: a mammoth, an eagle, a great bear. Their laughter carries softly across the prairie before disappearing into the wind. One evening, as the sun begins to set, the sky turns shades of gold, orange, and deep red. The entire grassland glows beneath the fading light. Even the bison seem to pause for a moment, standing quietly against the colorful horizon. The elders gather everyone together. No stories are told tonight, no songs are sung. Instead, they simply watch the sunset in silence. Some moments are too beautiful for words. As darkness gently settles over the prairie, countless stars appear overhead. Without mountains or forests, the night sky feels larger than ever before. The Milky Way stretches across the heavens like a river of light. A child whispers, "It looks like another path." An elder nods. Perhaps it is. Perhaps our ancestors walk there too. No one answers. The silence itself feels comforting. The campfire burns softly through the cool night. Its warm glow reaches only a few steps into the darkness. Beyond it, the prairie rests peacefully beneath the stars. A gentle breeze moves endlessly through the tall grass. The sound is soft, steady, almost like the slow breathing of the earth itself. The people close their eyes. Tomorrow, they will continue exploring this vast and beautiful land, not because they are searching for. The seasons continue their quiet dance. Spring follows winter. Summer follows spring. Autumn follows summer. And then, once again, the snow gently returns. The people no longer think of themselves as travelers. This vast land has become their home. Some families remain beside the rivers, others live deep within the forests. Many now follow the great bison across the endless grasslands. Over countless generations, their paths slowly spread. in every direction. Without realizing it, they are filling an entire continent with life. One peaceful evening, a young boy sits beside his grandfather near the fire. For a long time, neither of them speaks. They simply watch the glowing flames rise into the cool night air. Finally, the boy asks a quiet question. "Grandfather, does the land ever end?" The old man smiles. His face is lined with many years beneath the sun, the wind and the snow. "I do not know," he answers gently, "and perhaps no one ever will. The world is always larger than the next hill." The boy looks toward the dark horizon. He imagines forests beyond forests, rivers beyond rivers, mountains beyond mountains. The thought fills him with peaceful wonder. The following morning, the camp wakes before sunrise. A gentle mist covers the prairie. Tiny drops of dew sparkle upon the tall grass. The world feels calm, almost untouched. As the first golden light spreads across the land, a great herd of bison slowly appears through the morning fog. Hundreds of them move together in quiet harmony. Calves remain close to their mothers. Older animals lead the way with slow, steady confidence. The people stand silently and watch. No one disturbs them. The herd has followed this ancient path for generations, and so have the people. There is a quiet understanding between them. Each depends upon the same rivers, the same seasons, the same generous earth. Later that afternoon, several children discover something unusual beside a small creek. Pressed gently into the soft mud are footprints, not from a bison, not from a deer, not even from a mammoth. They are human footprints, fresh ones. The children call for the elders. Soon everyone gathers around the tracks. The footprints belong to another family, people they have never met before. The elders smile warmly. The world is larger than they imagined. Somewhere beyond the hills, other families are living peaceful lives beneath the same sky. A few days later, the strangers arrive. They approach slowly. Open hands, kind faces, no fear. The two groups stop a respectful distance apart. For a few quiet moments, no one speaks. Their words are different. Their voices sound unfamiliar. But smiles need no translation. One elder offers dried berries, another offers fresh fish. The gifts are accepted with grateful hearts. Children from both families begin playing together almost immediately. They laugh at the same games. They chase the same butterflies. They skip the same smooth stones across the creek. The adults watch them with quiet happiness. Though their languages have grown different over many generations, their kindness remains the same. That evening, 2 campfires burn side by side beneath the stars. Stories are shared through gestures, drawings in the sand and patient smiles. New ideas are exchanged, different tools are admired, songs unlike any they have ever heard drift softly into the night. No one keeps track of how many hours pass. The stars slowly cross the sky above them. The moon rises quietly over the prairie. The firelight dances gently upon peaceful faces. In that simple moment, surrounded by friends who had once been strangers, the ancient continent feels just a little smaller. Not because the land has changed, but because the people have discovered one another. As the fires slowly fade into glowing embers, everyone settles down to sleep beneath the same endless sky. The gentle wind moves through the tall grass. The creek continues its quiet song. Far above, the stars shine with timeless patience, watching, waiting, remembering. And somewhere deep within the hearts of these peaceful people, the understanding quietly grows that although they may walk different paths, they all share the same beautiful world. Now, take another slow, comfortable breath. Imagine both campfires glowing softly beneath the stars. Hear the laughter of children slowly fading into peaceful silence. Feel the cool prairie breeze and allow yourself to drift gently, calmly toward a deep and restful sleep. Many thousands of years have now passed. The first families who crossed the northern land bridge are only distant memories. Their names have been carried away by time, but their footsteps remain, not upon the ground. For the wind and rain have long since erased them, but within the lives of the generations that followed. Across this vast continent, people now live in many different landscapes. Some make their homes beside the icy rivers of the north. Others live among endless forests. Many follow the great herds across wide prairies. Far to the south, families settle beneath warm skies where rivers flow gently through rich valleys. Every place shapes the people who call it home. Different songs are sung, different languages are spoken, different traditions are lovingly passed from one generation to the next. Yet one truth remains the same. They all belong to this remarkable land. The earth continues changing. The great ice age slowly comes to an end. The enormous glaciers retreat farther north. Plants spread into places that were once frozen. New forests rise. New lakes appear. New rivers carve their paths through the valleys. The people adapt, just as they always have. They learn. They observe, they grow. Some begin returning to the same places each year. A peaceful valley, a familiar river, a quiet lake shore. These places become more than camps. They become homes. Children grow up knowing every bend in the river, every old tree, every rocky hill where wildflowers bloom each spring. For the first time, Many families no longer spend every season traveling. Instead, they build stronger shelters. They create places where stories can remain for many years. One quiet evening, an elderly woman sits beside the fire surrounded by her grandchildren. The youngest child asks softly, "Grandmother, who found this place first?" She smiles gently. No one truly found it. The rivers were already here. The mountains were already here. The birds were already singing. We simply arrived and learned how to live beside them. The children think quietly about her answer. It feels simple, yet somehow it feels deeply true. As darkness settles across the valley, the stars appear once again, exactly as they have for countless generations. The children lie upon soft blankets of animal hide. They search the sky for familiar patterns. One points toward a bright star. Another notices a shooting star quietly crossing the heavens. The elders smile. Some wishes, they believe, should remain unspoken. The campfire slowly burns lower. Its warm glow reflects in the calm river nearby. The gentle sound of flowing water fills the peaceful night. Somewhere in the distance, an owl calls softly. A family of deer walks quietly through the moonlit forest. The wind moves gently through the tall grass. Everything feels connected. The rivers, the forests, the mountains, the animals, the people. Each depends upon the others. Each belongs to the same ancient story. And although these peaceful families cannot know what the distant future holds, they have already given the continent its first great gift, a deep respect for the land itself. Thousands of years from now, new people will arrive across distant oceans. New languages will be spoken. New nations will rise. The land will eventually be called America. But tonight, none of that has happened yet. Tonight, the continent rests peacefully beneath an endless sky filled with stars. Its rivers flow quietly. Its forests breathe gently in the cool night air. Its first people sleep peacefully beside glowing campfires, completely unaware that they have become the opening chapter of one of history.